So here is the story. Jenna, Julie's sister, and Mikey had this cabinet. They didn't want it anymore. And apparently, according to Julie, we needed it. So we got it. So the two sisters came upstairs one Sunday afternoon, armed with a tape measure, and they measured out the gap and they thought, yeah, it's perfect. Actually, that will just fit like a glove. And here it is, in all fairness. However, what they didn't take into account is two things. To say it was a perfect fit is a little bit of an overstatement. Look, this is the latch where the door goes, and I've already had to catch it so that that would not hit against the cabinet. So that actually was the least of the problems. Diane, Julie's mum, came to stay with us over the weekend, and she could not reach this, too high. So every time she needed to use the toilet, we had to come here and switch it on and off. By the way, this also controls the extractor fan. So a debate took place. Apparently, it's my fault because I should have moved this before Diane came, somewhere more accessible, maybe here or over here, forgetting that I'm not the one who was armed with tape measures. The two sisters were. So, Julie's not here at the moment. She's going to an exercise class, and I want to give her the opportunity to have a voice. So I'm just going to say to you what she would say in her defense. So let me get into Julie's persona for a moment. She'd say something like, hang on a moment. She would have this face, hang on a moment. What you're not telling is that you should have done this before Christmas, and we are in August. It's been like this for the last 7 months, 8 months. That's something like that anyway. Maybe she would say more in an English accent. Forget all that. Today I'm going to be moving this switch from over here, maybe somewhere here or here. I'll decide in a moment. There is another one here which controls the light for the loft, and I will show you what I do in my own house. Now, I hate doing it because it is where it is society nowadays, but I am a competent person, and I'm not going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you what I do. And if you're a competent person and you are conversant with electrics, great, we got something in common. If you're not and you need to do a similar job, I would strongly recommend that you call a qualified electrician. So let's make a start. Now, first things first, and let's get some air in here. I'm not sure, oops, we got quite a lot of dead flies here, by the way. I'm not sure why, but in our loft we seem to have a problem with flies. They just lurk around. That's always been the case. Actually, I've got no idea why that is, and if anybody in the world watching this video can give us some ideas on how to get rid of those flies, they've been here since we moved in about 30 years ago, I would really, really welcome it. Thank you. But lofts also, they smell of loft, and you have to be really careful as to what you keep in your loft. When we go on holiday, we keep our cases here. We have to take our cases downstairs for a couple of days, keep them open, because otherwise everything smells of loft. It's just the way it is, I suppose. So let's go and find where the light switch goes. And all of a sudden the job actually has become considerably simpler. So the light switch is just beneath this piece of wood. Here, this is the plasterboard, and here is the cable. And if I follow this cable, it will take me straight to this ring here. And bearing in mind that the light for the loft is here, and I might actually move it next to it, or maybe over here to the other side, the job is considerably simpler. So all I need to do is to disconnect it and fit the cable and reconnect it. There's only one issue to consider, and I'm just closing the loft hatch once again. If I was to move it over here, it would not be very practical though. Although we do have a light switch for the loft, this cable is short and generally lives here, and we do not use it very often. Whereas actually I'm thinking that the most practical and logical position for it is over here, next to the hatch for the loft. What that means is that the cable will hang over here, and if I just step back, as one walk into the toilet, you can easily reach the cable and then the light on, and away you go. So having established what I want to do, I've just turned the power off, the electrics, absolutely important and imperative. So I'll remove this cover, and I will disconnect now the light switch from the ceiling, and I've got some cables over here which I will just unscrew. So the first cable I disconnected was the earth, Now disconnecting the live, which is over here. I'll take the switch off and I'll explain how it works actually. So here we go, and I've just replicated the same wiring as it was up there using 3 different cables. So first of all, let's talk about colors. Yellow and green is earth. At the moment mine is just green, so I will be replacing it with a yellow and green sleeve, as this is the convention. And it goes against the earth cable, which is over here. Then the current convention is that brown indicates live. And in older properties, this used to be red, by the way, so you might have an older property, instead of having a brown cable, you might have a red cable. And conversely, the same applies to this one here, which is tend to be the color for the neutral or common, which is blue, but in older properties you might find that it was black. So having dealt with the colors, let me show you how the switch actually works. So here is the pulley, and this is either on or off. And very simply, all the switch does, it connects these 2 cables together or disconnects them together. So assume the light is off. At the moment, the cable will just be on their own. The moment I pull the switch and the light comes on, all it happens is that inside this little white box, there is something which enables these 2 cables to effectively come together, and the electricity will flow. When actually it's off again, then they just come apart. Simple as that. The new switch will go over here, but my cable, and I'll show you if I just turn the camera around, it will be stretched and not ideal. So I'm going to be replacing it all the way from the ring to the new switch, and I'll put new cable in. I also just spotted that this ring is not really big enough for all of these cables. So, and I was being like this most probably for years, but now that I know, I will have to deal with it. So I will finish the job today, but eventually I will replace it either with a larger ring, or maybe I'll put 2 rings so that there is more space for everything. And that is particularly visible the way that the earth cable has been put together. You do get a lot with all the properties where other people have done things themselves, some DIY people, or in the old days they didn't really follow many conventions. So you'll find that in many old properties. So I'll do my best today to make it a little bit safer, but I will definitely be replacing this ring. Okay, so the cover goes back on, and let's see how much I need now. So I am going over here. If I give myself a good leeway, I'll chop it here. I've just drilled a few holes so that I can feed the cable and everything is nice and neat. And as the electrics are off, I decided to use my torch so that hopefully you can see better. Now let me show you how I'm going to turn something which could be a challenge into an opportunity. This is exactly where I want my switch, but if you look, there are timbers everywhere, so I'm not able to put this inside because it's too big clearly. However, I've noticed that the distance between these 2 pieces of timber, it's shorter from the distance that I have between the 2 holes of the bracket for my switch. So if I position that on top of my timber, I should actually be able to just reach with some screws when it goes through from the ceiling. So I have decided that if I go dead in the center over here with my little drill bit, and I drill a hole over here from the top down, I should be able to get that. And this is just plasterboard, so it's very simple to drill. I've just managed to get through without going all the way, so rather than making a mess underneath, I'll go and drill from the other side. And I can feed my cable through now, and unless there is a problem in terms of not being able to reach with the screws, I think I'm done upstairs. But before I go down, I'll just show you the new cable. Goes from the ring over there underneath my timber. Oops, I'm gonna lose the balance. And there it goes, and then it goes through over here. And don't you just love it when a plan comes together? Perfect. And all I've got left to do now is to reconnect the light switch to the new cable, and I will get my cables ready and then I'll work in reverse. So I mentioned that I was going to be replacing my earth green sleeve with a proper color one, so this is a yellow and green one. I'm connecting the earth cable first, and I always give it a little pull to ensure that it's properly in, and it is. The blue cable replaces the old black cable, and it goes inside the little slot labeled common, followed by the brown cable, which replaces the old red cable. So everything is properly secured, and I can now put the cover back on, and I'll go and turn the electrics on, and hopefully it will work. By the way, over here I will put some polyfiller, and then we've got some ceiling paint left over in the loft, so we will touch it up once the polyfiller is dried, and as this is Artex, we can actually do it in a way that it will look as there was never a light switch there. Now Julie's back, she's downstairs, she's eating her breakfast, she's back from her exercise class. She knows I'm working on the light, but I haven't told her what I've said before about the story. So what I'll do, I'll get her to come upstairs and test the light switch, and then I'm going to say to her that it only took me 10 minutes, it took me about 25, but because I know what she's going to say, no, it took you only 10 minutes and it took 6 months for you to do it, I can guarantee you that there's going to be a response. Anyway, I'll call her and then you will see what I mean. Julie, can you come up and check the light to see if you're happy? Right, as you know, I moved it over here.
Oh, that's
I haven't tested it yet. So
we're praying it works, sorry.
it's not praying required, but it took me about 10 minutes after all. Yeah, they try anyway.
Ta-da! Fabulous.
See, all stuff has
Now poor mum won't have to break her neck when she's trying to reach.
Yeah.
Better, much better. Well
10
done.
minutes, that's all it took.
Crumbs.
Anything to
Need
say?
to be Hoover then, fabulous. Thank you, my love.
Nothing. No.
I do know I'm not going to kiss you because you're all sweaty and horrible.
You're the one who's been exercising.
True enough.
I said to our viewers that what you're going to say, 10 minutes and you make me wait 7 months.
Well, this is true enough. Yeah, this is true enough.
It didn't take 10 minutes, it took
Never
about
mind.
half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the job done. It's back in its former glory, very elegant. We got this lovely little chain, and this is ceramic, so now it's on full view. And back to what a normal light should work.
Just need a little filler and some paint now.
We do. And just remember, if you ever have one of those at home, make sure that you hide it. And if you need to use it, you use it. Don't let your partner, in case there's Julie and his sister, to use it. That's all. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you have enjoyed the video. Arrivederci.
Another one bites the dust.